You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Didn't you coach Burt Reynolds?
Yes, I did.
Was he any good?
He was a defensive back.
I know. Was he any good, I said?
103.9 FM LI News Radio presents The Weekend Crunch with Errol Marks and Josh Silverberg.
Hello, Long Island, New York, and around the country. This is The Weekend Crunch. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Joshua Silverberg, and obviously on the board, as always, Mr. Cranky Pants, Mr. Speedy Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time, only on 103.9, the LI News Radio Network, brought to you by New York Sports Team Magazine and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well, I will say this, Josh. I went to a wedding last night. I want to give a shout-out to Nick Yip and Jackie on their wedding. It was a beautiful wedding at Chateau Brion over there in, I guess you could say, Carl Place. It is a beautiful place. I remember going over there. I DJ'd there years and years ago, not only for weddings. I DJ'd at a club called Body English, which they did, I think it was every Monday night or Tuesday nights over there. But it's a beautiful place. The food was wasn't the best, but even the DJ, I wasn't very impressed with the DJ. But I'm never impressed with the DJ. If it's not me, it's not good, okay? That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, I see you making your faces, but it's true. I'm just telling you facts, and facts are life. Get it? The facts of life?
The facts of life from the show. No pun intended.
I think the pun was absolutely intended.
It was. How are you guys doing, Speedy? What are you doing today?
I'm actually going up to see my family again. My uncle is coming over to our house for the first time in probably like 8 months or so. Yeah. We haven't seen him in a while. So,
COVID?
Yeah. He also has busy hours because he works as a mailman, so he works a lot of long shifts. So he's going to be coming up tonight too, which is great to see. He hasn't seen like I said, he hasn't seen my family in probably about 9 months.
So you're going to hang out with good old Unky Dunky, right? Mm-hmm. His name's Unky Dunky? No. Well, we're going to give him. We're going to dunk him like a donut, okay? How's that sound? Tell him.
The irony is he brings donuts a lot of the time.
Oh.
So.
Does he bring any jelly donuts? I love my jelly
sometimes.
donuts. I love the little squirty.
It's not like the Dunkin' Donuts that he brings, right? It's like legitimate donuts.
No, it's usually Dunkin' Donuts. It is usually Dunkin' Donuts.
Fake.
Well, that's true. I mean, when you're trying to dunk a donut, it has to be, if you're dunking a donut in milk, it has to be a chocolate donut. It has to be.
Always. See, that's the underrated thing, Krispy Kreme, maple glaze, the Krispy Kreme glazed donuts, those are still the best.
You like Krispy Kreme glazed?
Oh, I love their glazed donuts, man.
I don't think I've had that in a while, since I was in high school.
Oh, dude, my dad, when I was younger, he, on his way back, there was a Krispy Kreme on the way back from his office in the city, and he used to always get a dozen donuts, and he'd bring it back home every single time. I go nuts every time because he would just get a 12-pack of you would get like 2 Boston Cream, but you get the whole thing would be the glazed donuts. Wow. And now they just opened one up in Times Square, I believe. So
I don't think I've had one since I was in the city, sometime when I was in high school. How often do you see Krispy Kreme here?
Well,
Speedy, a lot of them in Florida. That's for sure.
Well, Speedy, now we know why Josh's head is so fat.
Exactly.
It was the donuts.
Growing up, it was just a bunch of glazed Krispy Kreme donuts every Friday.
Now there's one Krispy Kreme within, I would say, 150-mile radius, and that's Atlantic City.
No, you got the one. They built the one in Times Square.
That's right.
Is that really a real one? I mean, or is it just a tourist attraction?
I haven't been there. I haven't been in Times Square for a while.
The crazy thing is, if you go to Florida, they're all over the place, especially down in South Florida by Fort Lauderdale, Miami. I know my cousin lives from one. She lives 5 minutes away from one, and I always go to that exact one every time I go and visit them. And I go, man, you guys. The fact that if I see other people with Dunkin' donuts in their hand, when you got a Krispy Kreme that's 2 minutes away from your house, what a disgrace. Well, go away, man.
It's all about the jelly, baby. I love the squeeze of the jelly when it hits
the tongue. That's my wife's favorite, too, the jelly donut.
That's why me and your wife are very good friends, if you know what I mean, Me and her just very close. And
2 peas in a pod.
Two
That's
peas
right.
in a pod. That's right. And I love my peas. Well, I hate my peas, but but I do like the pods. Anyways, we have a great show lined up for you guys. As you guys know, we're going to get into the NBA playoffs as the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets start to make their surge to Lord's NBA championship. Why I say Lords, because they're going to need a lot of Lords to get there, and I'm talking about the Knicks.
Maybe the sports lords.
Good luck on that. They're going to have to really laugh you to sleep. Okay.
The sports lords are the Knicks' opponents. They're fans of the Hawks. So I don't know if
Yeah,
you want
they're
them.
fans of the Hawks.
I don't know if you want them, Josh.
Yeah, I think we'll stay away from them. And by the way, they're from New York, so I don't know how they like Atlanta. All of them are from Brooklyn. I have no idea why they're Atlanta Hawk fans.
I think just because when you move to a different state and you're so acclimated and I don't know when they moved there.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, I guess you get so acclimated and you see everything around you. It's 24/7. It's just all Atlanta sports. I guess.
Stop! If you grew up a Knicks fan, how do you go all the way to the Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah, but you have an excuse to leave the Knicks.
Oh, so it's an excuse.
Up until
Hold
this
on.
year, what were the Knicks?
Hold on. Are you telling me, after living your whole life here in New York, all of a sudden, when you're not a teenager, you're a young man, you decide to go to Atlanta and switch teams and root on the Atlanta Hawks? Meanwhile, you have taken shots at me because when I was 11 years old and I decided to part ways with the Rangers and become an Islander fan, you say I'm a front runner?
It's so funny because I still picture it in my head. It's still not believable to me that you were ever a Ranger fan.
I was a Ranger fan.
Don't worry, at least you're not that guy that you and our former network members knew that sold his fandom to become a Lakers fan.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Evan Permuter. Okay.
It's okay. Lyle Gillen became a Nationals fan. So
well, he became a Nationals fan because he hates the Mets.
He became a Nationals fan because he loves Bryce Harper. Then Bryce Harper left, and he still did. With the
He should be a Philadelphia fan now. So
I don't know. I mean, look, I didn't realize that Aaron Nola had a 4 ERA, but sure.
Yeah, well, Bryce Harper has to duck every single time he sees a ball now.
God Almighty, it's so bad.
Oh man. Anyways, like I said, we're going to get into some NBA conversation. We will get into baseball with the Yankees and the Mets. Both teams are playing good baseball right now, and Aaron Hicks could be out for the season. Yesterday it came out, so that's a huge story. What do the Yankees do at the trade deadline? Do they bring in a center fielder? Do they look to bring in a center fielder? Because we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. And the Islanders, yes. As you guys know, we are on tonight, right after the Islander. We'll get into the Islander game as we move forward in the show. So the New York Islanders trying to tie the series. That's going to be interesting. And hopefully Sorokin is the goaltender moving forward. I cannot watch any more Varlamov. But first things first, Steph Curry, okay? And I am tired. I am tired of listening and going on social media and hearing that Steph Curry is one of the top 5 point guards of all time. Some people put him in the top 3, okay? This year, watching this Golden State Warriors team, which is highly overrated, okay? They still had stars. I don't want to hear it from any Golden State Warrior fan that Draymond Green is still not a star. This guy has been an all-star for 5 years of his career. I mean, to me, that's a star, all right? Andrew Wiggins, who has never been in an all-star game, averages a career 17, 18 points a game. This guy was the number 1 pick in the draft. What was it, 6 years ago? This guy is still a very good young player. You have Wiseman. You have all these players. You had Wiseman. He was the number 2 pick in this year's draft, where everybody said he was the most quality and most dominant young player in this year's draft. We haven't seen anything yet. Thank you, Steve Kerr. But I will say something about Steph Curry. He has a lot of heart. I'm not going to say that he doesn't. I'm not saying that he's not one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, Josh. But for anybody to come out and say that he was one of the top 3 candidates to be MVP, when, to me, there were so many good players, including Damian Lillard, who is never on that list, ever on that list in the top 3. Look what he did for the Portland Trail Blazers. Even with their weaknesses throughout the season and the injuries that they fought, Damian Lillard was one of the best point guard, I believe, in the NBA. Then you have Chris Paul. Chris Paul, everywhere he goes, wherever he goes, whatever organization he goes, and they're a losing organization, he finds a way to win. The Phoenix Suns, who didn't make the playoffs last year, they were one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. They added Chris Paul in the offseason in a trade, and what did it do? It made them the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, okay? It's unbelievable. How is Chris Paul not an MVP candidate? And how about Julius Randle, who had one of the best seasons we've seen a New York player ever have since Patrick Ewing? I don't even think we've seen a Knick player have the numbers that he had straight down the board. Okay, you're talking about almost 26 points a game, 25. You have 10 rebounds and 6 assists a game. That's a phenomenal. That's a LeBron James-esque season. And LeBron James has won an MVP having those numbers. Why isn't Julius Randle on that list? You know why? Because Steph Curry is everybody's talk of the town. He's everybody's lover because every young man wants to be Steph Curry, dancing and prancing and shimmying around and throwing his mouthpieces at everybody. You know, I am tired, Josh, listening to the skepticism and the fandom of this man who, to me, is one of the most overrated athletes we've seen in the last 30 years. He is a great player. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. He is not anywhere from Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul. I can name a bunch, okay? He's nowhere close, Josh. Nowhere close. And yesterday, losing against the Grizzlies, John Morant, who's a second-year player, who completely outplayed him on his home court. What a joke. What a joke.
Well, you look at it this way, right? So everybody was basically counting on the fact that it was going to be the Warriors after they had a good enough performance where they could have been the Lakers, if not for, of course, LeBron James.
The great LeBron James. The great LeBron James actually hits a game-winning shot, 30-foot jumper, something, oh, by the way, Steph Curry hasn't done in the playoffs, just so you know.
With the way Steph Curry played yesterday, listen, did he have a good game? Sure. When you're the point guard, it's all about making everybody around you better. I'm watching highlights on ESPN, and every single highlight is Curry this and Curry that. I don't ever see anybody else taking a shot on the Warriors at all in the highlights. And it shows that when a guy like John Morant, who, like you said, is a second-year player, going into Oakland and beating Curry at home, might I add, which makes it even worse, he's going to be the 5th player in NBA history to not make the playoffs and be a finalist for the MVP. The 5th. Only 5 have done it. He's one of them. And it's kind of a crazy stat because you look at all the years of NBA players. When you think of most valuable player, you think of winner. You think of somebody that makes your team better because when they're injured, they are the guys that are the most valuable player. Clearly, Steph Curry, to me, doesn't make that difference for a team. Listen, is he a great player? I think he is a very good player. He just doesn't make guys around him any better. And that, I think, is a very disappointing stat when you look at it because ever since Durant left, Klay Thompson's out, you would think this is really his time to shine and be that big ball player that he's supposed to be, where he's supposed to make guys around him better, a beast team. They still have talent with Wiggins and Wiseman. Kelly Oubre was having a good year, and they're out. And there's no playoffs for them. And by the way, I'm sure the NBA is not pleased that they lost yesterday with Memphis.
How about this? Why don't we do this, Josh? Why don't we reach out to the Minnesota Timberwolves, reach out to them and say, you know what, let's try to add another superstar to the team so it makes them better. Why don't we try to make a move for Karl-Anthony Towns? Why not bring the whole Minnesota Timberwolves team over there? Because they can't win with Steph Curry. This is the problem with the NBA. It's all about adding stars. And with Wiseman and with some of the pieces they have, I wouldn't be surprised with Klay Thompson coming back that they reach out to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a.k.a. Alex Rodriguez Minnesota Timberwolves, and ask them for a trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. And
no, the Knicks will do that. It'll be a favor to the Knicks. No. He loves New York. A-Rod loves New York so much. Oh, I love you. You know what? But even though it was interesting what Karl-Anthony Towns said, he said that he wants to finish his career with the Timberwolves.
Yeah, okay.
Which is funny because he said that he wants to bring this team a championship. And I said, all right, well, you got to get to the playoffs first before that even happens.
That's never going to happen. And he's not staying there. No. After his mom passed away, I think he wants to come back to the East Coast. His family's over here. He lost 7 family members to COVID-19. I think he wants to move on his way to the East Coast. But who knows? With the Golden State Warriors wagging and daggling every single thing that they have.
No, they're shimmying, Arrow. Come on, you know this. They shimmy their way around the court.
Yeah, well, shimmy this. Steph Curry is one of the most overrated players. He doesn't belong as an MVP candidate. And anybody that is going to make excuses, which I've been reading it all this morning on, Steph Curry, you can't blame Steph Curry for this loss. What are you talking about? He's your superstar. He is your MVP. MVP. If you're going to be considered an MVP when your team loses, you're considered the loser, okay? And that's all I'm going to say. I'm tired. I am so tired of comparing and contrasting Steph Curry to some of the greats. I don't want to hear about Bleacher Report or ESPN. And by the way, Eric Martini, could you stop? Could you stop? He texted me last night. He was so happy that Steph Curry, because he hates Steph Curry, that he was out. And I didn't even answer him because I wanted to tell him, and this is the guy that you compare and contrast to Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, who won a championship. Yes, he had good players around him. But Isaiah Thomas didn't have the players that Steph Curry had around him. Is Bill Laimbeer a Hall of Famer? Come on. The only one that was Dennis Rodman, and Dennis Rodman wasn't a star until really later in his career as a Detroit Piston. So I don't want to hear Joe Dumars. You want to say Joe Dumars? He was a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. So I'm not going to say that Joe Dumars wasn't, but he wasn't a great Hall of Fame. He was a good player. So I think that when you try to compare, even John Stockton, who do you have? Karl Malone? I mean, give me a break. These guys had nobody.
Wait, you mean to tell me Greg Ostertag isn't a guy that we give respect to?
Oh, give me a break. Oh, there was a player that played for that Jazz team that was a coach for the Knicks a couple of years ago, too. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, Mr. Jeff Hornacek.
That's right.
Mr. Triangle Offense. That's right.
Well, if Steph Curry's up for an MVP, Jeff Hornacek should have been up for an MVP because that's all he was. He was a shooter. I know he wasn't as prolific as obviously Steph Curry, but this is ridiculous. The NBA should be ashamed of himself. The fact that you keep Damian Lillard and Julius Randle off that list and you give it to Steph Curry, and if Steph Curry wins the MVP, I will absolutely shoot down Adam Silver and this garbage of an organization because this guy does not deserve to be there. He has not deserved to be an MVP candidate. I don't care if he scores 40 points a game. Does that make him an MVP? His team was an 8 seed with 2 other great players. How are you an 8 seed? And you didn't even make the playoffs. You lost against the Grizzlies on a playing game with John Morant. That's all they have over there. They have a bunch of good young players, not great players. That team had no business beating Golden State against the great Steph Curry. Give me a break. Garbage.
I also think, by the way, that the Warriors are going to try to improve this offseason. Maybe they trade Wiseman for another superstar player. I'm not sure.
It's definitely going to happen. They're not winning with Klay Thompson.
Oh, I know that for a fact. I mean, you look at it look, do you remember there was a time when they said if Giannis hit free agency, he was going to go to Golden State? I said, oh, great. That's going to work out well. Mm-hmm. Giannis and Steph Curry on the same team, they would really mesh well, those two. But it's just...
You're right. They will because Steph Curry wouldn't be the number 1 guy again. It would be Giannis.
That is true. He would probably like that, especially in the playoffs.
Another guy who deserves MVP more than Steph Curry.
They got to bring back Andre Iguodala. That's what they got to bring back. The 90-year-old Andre Iguodala. I mean, it's just so silly that everybody really thinks that this guy's going to. And to be honest with you, I do think he is going to win the MVP. I think they're going to give it to him. They are going to give it to him, and I think it's egregious that they do. I agree with you. I think Julius Randle, I think Damian Lillard, these are guys that are not getting the respect that they deserve. Their team actually made the playoffs with less talent than what Steph Curry had. And Steph Curry's team lost to the Memphis Grizzlies at home. It just doesn't make any sense to me why. The MVP is supposed to be the most valuable player. I said it before. Well, if he's so valuable, how come the team isn't in the playoffs?
How about this? He's the most valuable idiot. How's that? The NVI.
That would be an MVI.
NVI. That's what we'll call him. Most valuable idiot. To me, an overrated, 3-point stocky, skinny, scrawny Steph Curry.
He does? He's asked for the ball. I'm just going to pop it and see if it goes in.
And he does. And he popped it yesterday, even though he didn't pop anything else but a loss. So there you go. Golden State is out of the playoffs, and I am so happy. By the way, when you talk about a winner, LeBron James is a winner. LeBron James got poked in the eye by Draymond Green. Couldn't even see out of his eye. Hit 2 free throws.
He said he saw 3 rims.
What
he said he saw 3 rims, and he said, I tried to hit the middle one. Well, that worked.
Well, don't say that to your wife.
Meanwhile, I'm curious to see what they do with him with the player safety protocol now, because he broke the protocol rules yesterday. He was out at a party for his tequila brand with no mask, and he broke safety protocol. So I'm curious what the NBA does with that now.
I guess he'll be hanging out with Conor McGregor with his whiskey. These two guys.
I was hanging out with Steph Curry watching Game 1 possibly.
Steph Curry is going to be playing golf. His second favorite thing to do, even though he's no good at it. Anyways, when we come back, we're going to get into New York Knicks basketball and Brooklyn Net basketball as the two teams, the two New York teams, the talk of the town. One team that's selling out 1, 2, 3, and another team that can't give away tickets. When we come back, we will get into both teams here on the Weekend Crunch. Ooh, I like this. Definitely wakes people up when they're sleeping. Speedy, I like this beat. Woo, I like it. As you guys know, this is the Weekend Crunch. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Joshua Silverberg, and on the board, Speedy, DJ Petey. Remember, you can listen to the show every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time, only on 103.9, the LI News Radio Network. Brought to you by New York Sports Team Magazine and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Download the Worldwide Sports Radio app on iOS, WWSRN, or Android. Worldwide Sports Radio Network. What were you saying over there while I was coming in from break?
I said there are some semblance of rules, so I guess it kind of fits into the mantra of rules are this and that. It doesn't matter. You got to follow them anyway.
I don't follow any rules, by the way.
Well, we know that. That's for sure.
By the way, I didn't have any underwear, so today I am on the show commando under my wonderful sweats. So there you go. I am doing a Speedy Petey.
Well, hold on a second. Now, we can't see you under the... For all we know, you could be lying.
I'm not lying. You want me to pull down my pants?
No.
I mean, the fans can't see it, so I'm not going to scare them away.
No, there's no point in that. We don't need to have that. See, those are rules we need to follow.
Well, not really. Nobody's watching.
Yeah, that's true, because you're not on the camera.
I'm not on no camera. Who cares? I mean, I don't want to show you guys. I'm a man. I don't... You know,
well, so we don't want to see that. Trust me, we're not asking for it. I know for a fact Speedy's not.
Well, I don't know about
you. Got that right.
Speedy did say he likes sausage McMuffins. So, anyways,
those are good on the McGriddle, though, right?
I don't know. You asked Speedy. I don't know.
Either one's fine.
Either one is fine. He likes
either one is fine. Oh God,
it doesn't matter what sausage.
Whatever you want.
No. Anyways.
I think what Speedy would be if he's dating somebody. What do you want for dinner tonight, hon? Oh, I don't care. It's whatever you... Ugh, I hate that.
Speedy will eat anything a woman makes him, so... Anyways.
Before, man, the first woman Speedy sleeps with, that's the one he's going to marry.
I wish I had that kind of confidence.
He's funny. You're funny. I like your hat, by the way, Speedy.
Yeah, it's even though it's a Laker colors, I don't understand why you're wearing Laker colors, but you're a Knicks fan. Anyways,
it's not a Lakers hat.
Well, still Laker colors.
I just like purple. Is that okay?
I love purple too. It's my favorite color.
Mine too.
And so is everybody's. I know a bunch of people that have purple their favorite color. Anyways, I want to get into the New York Knicks, and I will say this: anybody that isn't a Knicks fan or hasn't watched the season this year for the New York Knicks and not excited about going into the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks, having home court advantage. The New York Knicks haven't been a very good team and haven't been a very good organization for a while. Mm-hmm. And with Tom Thibodeau coming to the team in the last past year, bringing in Rose, bringing in Wesley, bringing in all this management that really solidified this team and this organization to being a very well-run oil machine. The problem over the last couple of years is finding that superstar. And when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving decided not to come to the Knicks and decided to go to their, I guess their enemy, the Brooklyn Nets, a lot of people thought that the Knicks were never going to be able to land a superstar. Well, with Scott Perry and Steve Mills, they took a shot on a lonely Julius Randle from the Pelicans. They gave him a 3-year contract worth about $60 million. And boy, oh boy, did they get a steal. And Julius Randle, If you remember, when he was drafted from Kentucky, a lot of people thought he was one of the best offensive players to come out of that draft. He just really didn't produce when he was drafted by the Lakers, even though he still averaged about 13, 14 points a game as a Laker. His first year, he injured his leg. He was out for the season. It was a significant injury. He came back. Kobe, he worked with Kobe, trained with Kobe, and you're seeing it, on his work ethic and his practicing, and it's been contagious for the New York Knicks and this young team. But Julius Randle has been everything and more for this New York Knicks organization. He's helped tame and grow a young kid like R.J. Barrett, who's really transformed his game. A kid that was averaging about 33, 34% at the three-point line last year is averaging close to 40%. His free throw shooting was at 62, 63% to this year at 75, 76%. This kid's game has completely transformed as a young player in the NBA, 20, 21 years old. Quigley, a kid that, has been fighting injury all season long. He's a great pickup, a great find at number 23 from the New York Knicks, who everybody thought was a second-round talent. He was definitely on my Rookie of the Year candidacy, definitely top 3. Even though he missed the last week, 2 weeks because of injury, if you don't put Emmanuel Quigley in a top 3 for Rookie of the Year, you don't know what the hell you're doing. And I just think that this team has a very good chance to knock off this Atlanta Hawks team. Now, Atlanta has some good young players as well. They have one of the best young shooters. A lot of people compare his skills, and you know who I'm talking about, to a Steph Curry-esque type of player. But you can't win with those Steph Curry-esque type of players. So I think that going into this series, you have to be very excited as a New York Knicks fan against the Atlanta Hawks, because I think they match up very, very well with the board if they get out of this series. I think they match up. If the 76ers get out of their round, I think they match up very, very well against the 76ers in the second round. I could see the Knicks surprising the world and knocking off the 76ers. So I don't think they're beating the Brooklyn Nets in a 7-game series. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that the Knicks have been very impressive. They've been absolutely everything, many different things that I didn't think that this team was going to be. As far as the Brooklyn Nets are concerned, we know what this team is. We know what they need to do. They were built to win. James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, and all those scrubs, okay? They were built to win. And Steve Nash, I don't trust him. I don't trust his assistant coaches, a.k.a. Amari Stoudemire and Mr. D'Antoni, who has never won anything or played or coached in a finals before in his career. The guy has never coached a winning championship competitive team, okay? So just so everybody knows, as a Nets fan, which I'm not, but all you Nets fans out there, and I'm not taking shots at the Nets, I want to see New York win. I want to see the Knicks challenge them. I don't think the Knicks are ready to win this year, but I don't think this is the Brooklyn Nets year either. I think if you look at James Harden, Kyrie Irving, I think you said, Josh, a week ago that they only played like 7 games together all season long since he was traded. You can't win. And we saw this with Miami when LeBron James went to the Miami Heat. They played for a whole season, and they just couldn't figure things out until the second year. They went to the finals and got whomped by Dallas Mavericks team. So I don't know if this is going to be there. I think it's more likely next year. But this team's built to win. So, Josh, what do you think about the first round of the playoffs for these two New York teams?
It's interesting when you look at the whole situation with how the New York Knicks have gotten it together, right? I mean, you look at forget just Julius Randle for a second. It's all about the way that Leon Rose, Scott Perry, and these guys built the depth pieces for this team. Worldwide Wesley. I mean, you're talking about Derrick Rose, who they got a steal of a trade. It was Dennis Smith Jr., the second-round pick for Derrick they essentially gave up nothing. We joke, but think about how the Mets just traded $1 to get Cameron Maybin, right? It felt like the Knicks only gave $1 to go get Derrick Rose. And without Derrick Rose, the Knicks aren't in the position that they're in right now with the veteran leadership.
By the way, you hated Cameron Maybin. By the way, you were mocking the Cameron Maybin song.
No, I still hate Cameron Maybin. I think he's garbage.
And he's playing great baseball. What can I say?
The Mets, he's not playing great baseball right now. But that's besides the point. When you look at if not for Derrick Rose, the New York Knicks aren't where they are. Obi Toppin was improving at the end of the season. I still need to see a little bit more from him, which I think we will next year to open him up a little bit more. Julius Randle was just playing so well this year that you wonder now, because Randle is going to be he's
the face. of
He's
the
the face of
Knicks.
the franchise. Does Obi Toppin even have a future here with
Yes,
the
he
Knicks?
does.
That's the
He
question.
does. He's still a young player. He's 22 years old.
That's fine. It's just a matter of if he's going to play here, he's got to probably play the 5. That's what it's going to have to be.
No,
He's
you could still play him 17, 18, 20 minutes a game next
I
year.
mean, he'll just be a bench piece then for them. That's
for
fine.
right now, but he's 22. How long do you think they're going to – if they re-sign Julius Randle, what are they going to give him, a 4-year deal?
They probably give him a 4 or 5 year deal.
Yeah, by then Toppin will be 26, 27. He'll be ready to take
Maybe
over.
he'll be finding himself like Randall did.
I
mean,
think
that could be a
Toppin will be
situation.
fine. You can use Toppin in the rotation. You can give
Hey,
him
listen, the more
between
players, the
25 and 30
better.
minutes.
Yeah, the more players you have, the better in your rotation. That's how it always works out. As good as Nerlens Noel has been, and he's been really good. He's second in the league in blocks. This is a series where you're going to miss Mitchell Robinson because Clint Capella is such a big, thick guy. He gets rebounds like crazy. He's grand on the interior. I got to see, will Nerlens Noel and Taj Gibson be able to hold up against a much bigger guy in Clint Capella, whereas Mitchell Robinson is about the same body type almost as Capella. Can the two, we'll see if Mitchell Robinson comes back. I am curious if they use Frank Ntilikina a little bit more in this series against Trae Young to try to stop the defense of Trae Young, because it's amazing how porous the Knicks are when Elfrid Payton is on the floor. They have a negative number when he's on the floor. It's so bad. And look, Thibs, I'm sick of people asking Thibodeau, is he going to bench Payton? The answer is no. He's not going to bench him at this point. It's just not the way it works. Now, you might see Frank Ntilikina more in the series to try to stop Trae Young, but look, Vegas has the Hawks as the favorite in the series. They have them as the favorite. You got Trae Young, you got Clint Capella.
That's because Vegas hates New York.
They got DeAndre Hunter, John Collins.
They're not winning.
The Hawks do have a lot of good talent. That's
good young talent. To me, I don't like Nate McMillan.
Well, you didn't like what he said.
I don't like him. I think he's so overrated. I never liked him when he coached the Seattle Supersonics. He's been in the league for a long, long time. He's a good defensive-minded coach, which it doesn't really show with the Hawks because they don't really play much defense. But that team, they got talent. By the way, I read something, and I'm reading with the lottery draft. Do you know that the Golden State Warriors could actually have 2 top 14 picks in this year's draft?
No, fix that for them. They'll get Kate Cunningham and move Kerr to the shooting guard.
They could get Minnesota's #1 pick this year at 6. And
Memphis.
And Memphis's. And they could get Memphis.
Was that in the D'Angelo Russell trade? I'm guessing that was the Russell trade. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how you show lack of intelligence in the NBA for certain lower teams. But going back to the Knicks, it's, I got to see how the young kids produce. R.J. Barrett. I want to see how he performs in this situation. Like you said, Arrow, they're a player or two away. This is not the year for them. We'll see what they do in the offseason. But look, if they could win a series and get to the second round, it's playoff experience for them. Even if they were to play Philly and they get swept in 4 games, which I'm not saying could happen, but if they do, that's still 4 more playoff games for them to get experience in and to understand what it means to be in this situation for these guys, to have it under the belt, to learn. Because let's face it, a lot of these guys on this roster, other than I believe Gibson, Noel, and Derrick Rose, and Reggie Bullock, nobody else on this roster has playoff experience. As far as the Nets go, the Nets to me are a team that I think is going to be next year, I think more. I am curious what they do in the offseason, how they build this rotation. You could do maybe what the Miami Heat used to do, where they used to get they got Shane Battier and they got, Chris Anderson, and they got these guys to veteran minimum contracts, where everybody just wanted to join them and play on the team, right? Just to be a vet, come off the bench, and help contribute. Shane Battier was a big contributing part to that. And when he was in Miami, he was one of the reasons why they won that first championship. Was Shane Battier. They had a good bench with Udonis Haslem, who was already there. They had Mario Chalmers that was kind of developing into a pretty nice point guard for them. It's all about what veterans are going to want to come to Brooklyn to the vet minimum and just want to help this team win a championship, because a lot of them are going to do that. All I'm saying is this. Can we just go and support the local businesses? Okay, the little local businesses. Okay, the Brooklyn Nets are a little business. Can we go and support the little business for them? The Knicks are a big business. they're giving you 50% off tickets. Go help out the little businesses for COVID. Okay?
Oh, give me a
Go
break.
support them.
I'm not wasting my time, and I'm not wasting my money, by the way. But listen, I'm very surprised the Brooklyn Nets are giving away. They're practically giving away their tickets.
Dude,
so
you got to go support the local businesses here in New York. That's how you support them, and you help the economy for New York. That
just shows you if LeBron James was there in Brooklyn, they would sell out. It just shows you that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden are not must-see TV when it comes to New York. And New York don't care. And the New York Knicks are still the talk of the town. Did you hear what Jeff Van Gundy said the other day? That no matter what Brooklyn does, no matter how many championships they bring home, it won't matter. They'll never win New York. Never. That's what Jeff Van Gundy said the other day. So to me, New York fans are faithful to their team, and that's the New York Knicks. And the Nets, even though they're from Long Island, they came from Long Island in the beginning with Dr. J, and then obviously went to New Jersey. They're not a New York team. They're really considered, just like the AKA New York Jets and the New York Giants, considered a New Jersey team. That's what they are. So, unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to get their credit when credit is due here in New York, because the Knicks are still here, and if the Knicks are good, they're going to dominate the tabloids. They're going to dominate the newspapers and the press coverage, because it's the Knicks. So, and it's Madison Square Garden. So, unfortunately, even though the Brooklyn Nets had a sensational year, they have some great players, it's not going to make a difference. Before we go to break, Speedy, what were your thoughts for both those teams?
Yeah, I think the Knicks are definitely going to win their first-round series against the Hawks, because the Hawks do lack defense. They're, outside of Capella, a very smaller team. So I think they will win 6 games. And like Josh was saying, I think they'll hang tough at times, whoever they play in the second round. I don't think they win, no matter who they play. In terms of the Nets, depends on which James Harden shows up. If James Harden has his woes in the playoffs, I could see them getting knocked off by Milwaukee. I could see them getting knocked off by Philly if that's the matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I still think they're right now the favorites. If James Harden just plays average, I think they'll be okay no matter what. Whoever they play in the West, though, I still think will beat them.
I think whoever comes out of the West wins the whole thing. But you never know. But if Brooklyn Nets figures things out with these 3 players as the playoffs progress, they're the favorites. They have the 3 top talented players. Nobody can match their 3 talents. Not the Lakers, not anybody in the West. So if those 3 players are driving on all cylinders, I don't think anybody beats them. James Harden can give you 30-some-odd points. Kyrie can give you 30-some-odd points. And Kevin Durant can give you 40-some-odd points. So these guys can absolutely score against anybody. The question is, when it becomes a half-court game and it becomes a press game, could they play against these top defensive teams? That only Steve Nash, yes, rookie Steve Nash, could figure out. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into some baseball. The New York Yankees, Hicks out again and could be out for the season. What do the Yankees do in the outfield? Giancarlo out for a significant amount of time. I'm not surprised. When is he coming back? Aaron Judge is hot right now. Gleyber Torres should be back this week from COVID. And by the way, Corey Kluber with a no-hitter. How could you not like what you're seeing with the Yankees? And by the way, everybody thought Harman wasn't going to have a season. He's 5-2 right now, almost a 2.86 ERA. What does that tell you with Domingo Germán? What it tells you is he's a god-darn good pitcher. When we come back, we will get into the Mets too, as the Mets are hot, as you saw what they did against the Braves, and they're fighting a ton of injuries. When we come back, Lindor woes will continue here on the Weekend Crunch. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, Speedy playing something of my realm. A little music, a little spin doctor over here. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time only on 103.9, the LI News Radio Network. Brought to you by New York Sports Team Magazine and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Download our Worldwide Sports Radio app, WWSRN on iOS, on Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I will say this. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Little J himself. You know, he's Today, he's just not feeling very good, or he just doesn't look good. And then there's the great Speedy Petey, Mr. Spin Doctor, a.k.a. Tutti Frutti Speedy Petey.
Getting into the New York Mets yesterday. Speaking of not feeling good and not feeling well, Pete Alonso, your boy, is now on the IL.
Oh, why am I not surprised?
That's 16 guys on the IL.
The polar bear.
The Mets AAA guys are getting hurt. So now they're calling up random guys now.
The replacements.
Hernan Vargas, he almost gets an inside the park home run yesterday. Khalil Lee with the big hit. And the Mets beating him up. By the way, if Aaron Loop blew that game in the 12th inning when the Mets scored 3 runs at the top of the inning, after he nearly almost gave up another 3 runs in the bottom of the inning, Don Mattingly would have killed himself because Don Mattingly had no more pitchers left on his bullpen. So I think if anybody would have been upset, it would have been him. But the fact that the National League East guys is so weak this year, I feel like the Mets are just right now trying to stay afloat. You're seeing Syndergaard, Lugo, the West Palm Beach Cardinals are asking for help.
Oh, that was funny.
By the way, did you see what DeGrom did, Errol? Did you see what he did for the entire minor league team? He bought them. Before the game, he bought them Chick-fil-A, the entire team, and then he bought them Outback after the game was over.
Wow.
Man, I got to hang out with him.
Look at this one. Mr. Moneybags.
Yeah, he's got to fill my stomach up. He should be making a lot more money than what the Mets gave him. I mean,
well, I will say Brody Van Wagenen was one of the worst GMs, but you could thank him for that. That was a steal that he got DeGrom for.
He should have gotten $300 million. That's what he should have.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the fact that he threw 102 miles an hour in he's fine. I've seen enough. Call it off. Call off the dogs. He threw 102 miles per hour.
Just think. When you look at Garrett Cole, got $326 million. You have Trevor Bauer he's making the most money in the next 2 years. Steven Strasburg. Right. This guy got $160 million from the Mets. He's by far the best pitcher in baseball. You can argue him or Garrett Cole.
There's no argument anymore. It's done. Stop.
Well, I mean, because Garrett Cole has pitched very well this year too. So
that's fine. But Corey Kluber got a no-hitter against the same team Cole struggled against.
So what? You can have one bad game.
I'm just kidding with you. But DeGrom is, I think, in his own elite status of how to have a lat injury, miss 2 weeks of pitching, and then come back and throw 102 miles an hour. And with his motion where there's no force or anything on his arm, it's extremely impressive. Because when I think of guys that are trying to throw 102 miles per hour, I see guys are trying to move their arms so much and everything like that, and motion, so. What are you saying? What is he saying?
What did I say, Speedy?
I didn't even hear it. It sounded like some kind of tracking device.
No.
It was like a metal detector at the beach.
Well, with you, it would be like the tracking device would do this. Homer.
Not a homer. Because the thing of it is, you can't sit there.
I love it. I love getting on your skin.
But you know what, though? Honestly, it's just amazing. The Mets actually have 16 guys on the IL. And they easily.
So the Yankees had 36 a couple of years ago. What was it, 2 years ago?
And that's the thing, though. You're seeing it. And guys overcome that. And teams overcome that. Once the Pilar thing happened, I think guys were like we have to step up now. But
did you see his nose, by the way? He looked like he came out of a boxing match after a boxing match.
Yeah, really, dude. He got wild. And you know what? He was ready to get back up and keep playing.
I give him credit.
Are you insane?
Yeah. I give him credit. He's a tough guy. He definitely is.
I mean, the fact that he did between him and then Almora running into the wall head first.
Oh my God!
Him getting up and him wanting to keep playing after he had a concussion. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
It's like the Major League movie. Watching the Mets.
Right. By the way, to this day, I still want Lou Brock to be my manager.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely, dude. He's the only guy that I feel like if somebody Francisco Lindor had something in his contract, Lou Brock would take the contract and pee on it.
That was the best part of that movie.
With Dorn?
With Dorn would go up to him and says, this is not in my contract. He pulls it out of his hand. He drops it. He looks at him, and he's pissing all over it.
Dorn, get in front of the ball. This is none of that Olay bull bleep.
I will say this. The Mets have been very impressive. We thought this was going to be a very good division. This is such a bad
Every
division.
team is under 500 now. And now Aaron Nola It's crazy. He has an ERA near 4 now.
Yep.
It's
And by the way, they gave him a nice big contract in the offseason. I think they were really regretting that now.
And Joe Girardi had every right to get upset at Gene Segura about
He might
this.
get fired at the end of this year.
I got to tell you, he had every right. I think he will get fired, actually. I do, because his players are like, I think they've quit on him, actually.
They're not playing. They're not playing for him.
No, but look at Gene Segura. And I, you know what? You remember the Gene Segura play where he just dropped the pop-up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame Girardi for getting upset. His quote was, "You're a major league player. Catch the freaking ball." And Segura's, "Why are you hurting my feelings?" What Girardi's saying not correct? How much money are you making to catch a pop-up and you put no effort into it? I knew when they hired him, I thought the Met job would have been a better spot for him.
I'm sure he thinks that too now with Steve Cohen there. But
Well, I mean, look at it.
who
this
knows?
way.
He might be the next manager for the New York Mets.
I don't know. Luis Rojas is doing pretty damn good right now to be able, and I'm not even a
Come
Rojas
on.
guy.
Do you really think this is going to
I
continue?
am not a Rojas fan.
They're playing crappy teams right now.
They did just beat the Atlanta Braves 2-3.
The Atlanta Braves are injured and they're crappy right now.
Excuse me. The Braves are injured? Hello? The Mets AAA players are getting injured.
The Braves have no pitching right now. They're
The Mets don't have a lineup. Go look at their lineup.
Yeah, but the Mets have a rotation, and that's
The Mets, where?
They're-
DeGrom's out. Syndergaard's out. Carrasco's
they've
out.
been out for a long time.
Taijuan Walker
so
is out. Only Stroman is the only healthy guy. Where's the rotation?
their rotation's a lot better than the Braves still. It's still better than the Braves.
Wait a second. Hold on a minute. I want to get Speedy involved in this because
Go ahead.
Speedy's hold on. Speedy, when you look at the two rotations side by side, with DeGrom, Syndergaard, Carrasco, and Walker all out, and the Mets are throwing in Joey Lucchesi and Tommy Hunter for spot starts.
Right.
Do you think the Braves rotation is better than the Met rotation?
Right now, yeah, because the Braves, even getting Friedback and he struggled. I mean, he's still a better pitcher than Tommy Hunter.
It's not even
Lucchesi.
close. Mets,
Yeah.
dude. The Mets. I don't even know who the Mets are in. Cameron Maybin's hitting third.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
That's bad, man. Jose Peraza, who was playing well for the Mets, he got hurt yesterday because he got hit in the elbow.
Just remember, the Mets have 21 wins, and they're playing in the National League East. When you look at the American League East right now, you have 4 teams over 20 wins. 4.
Oh, yes, not even close.
4.
And you know what? And the Mets are taking advantage of a situation that's fitting their boat right now.
And the Baltimore Orioles are the only team that doesn't have 20 wins, and they have 17. They still, if they were in the National League right now, they're in a wild card spot.
They're right there, baby.
Right in a wild card spot.
The Marlins are the only team in the NL East with a plus run differential.
Yeah.
They are the only team. It's you watch. We'll get to the Yankees, I know in a second, but it's you're watching that Met game yesterday. And it's like, so the Mets actually scored 3 runs in the top. The Mets, it was amazing. They had, you know how you have the runner on second to start the inning? The Mets 3 innings in a row got a base hit, and not once did those guys score from second. I mean, it's like, what the hell is going on?
To me, what's been so impressive is what we're seeing in the American League East, like we were just speaking. You talk about the Boston Red Sox. They had such a big lead over the last 2-3 weeks. They had such a huge lead. Tampa wasn't playing well. The Yankees weren't playing well. The Blue Jays weren't playing well. Baltimore is what Baltimore
Well, they
does.
suck, Baltimore,
Yeah,
so
but they don't suck. That's the crazy thing. Baltimore they're 17-27. If you look, if they were in the National League right now, they'd be
everybody else in the division.
2 games out of a wild card spot. They'd be 2 games out of a wild card spot. That's not a bad team, okay? That's a team. Just imagine. And by the way, unbelievable win by the Yankees the other night. Unbelievable. I mean, a triple play and then the walk-off, sensational. And the Yankees, all the Yankee fans that were booing him, throwing baseballs at him and booing this guy and booing that guy, well, Aaron Judge has been hot. Ultra hot. He's been unbelievable. You're losing Giancarlo. You're having Gleyber Torres.
I don't even get how Giancarlo got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt.
He's the DH. Like, I mean, how do you even, like...
He always gets hurt. I mean, he never stays
I know that, but it's like, dude, you haven't done anything. You know what I mean? Like what did he, like, what did he walk up?
He was the hottest hitter in baseball.
And he said, I'm hurt.
He was one of the hottest hitters in baseball.
I know.
Right?
That's why it's. But you know what? The Yankees are still doing well. They're staying afloat. They're still winning ball games.
They're only a game and a half behind the Boston Red Sox.
I mean, the report is that they were trying to. The other night, I know Ken Rosenthal was in there, or John Heyman, one of them says they were trying to acquire Delino DeShields,
I heard
play
that,
center, because Aaron Hicks is out for the season.
And they might get him. They still might get him.
Yeah, they know that. Well, again, they need bodies, right?
Yeah.
Because at this point, other than Brett Gardner, who we know cannot play every day, he's 39 years old, 38 years old. The only other center fielders that they could put out there right now are
DeShields played for the
Frazier.
Kansas City Royals at one point, didn't he? I'm not positive.
No, Indians and Rangers.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Indians
remember it. I'm trying to
They
remember.
kind of,
Mhm.
you know, the Yankees, and it's interesting, they probably could use Mike Tauchman right now and put him in center field.
Yeah, but listen, the Yankees, they had to move on from Tauchman. They have so many players that they were bringing up and disposing all the way through the farm system. They couldn't send him back down, so
Could
they had
you
to
put
do
Judge
something.
in center field or Clint Frazier in
No,
center
I
field?
wouldn't put Judge. Maybe Clint Frazier. I'd put Clint Frazier at center field, or try him at center field. He's got the speed and the agility to play center field. I think right
He
now,
makes me uncomfortable when he tries to catch a fly ball, though.
I think they can get DeShields, and I'm trying to.
It shouldn't cost that much to get the line of the Shields.
No, it shouldn't. And I think the Yankees will still at the trade deadline try to find the best player available to center field or best player available.
You could have gone Cameron Maybin for $1.
I don't think
the Mets traded Cameron Maybin. The Mets got Cameron Maybin for $1, and then I asked Cohen on Twitter. I said, "Did you give him a check or did you get him cash?"
Maybe Jacob deGrom will throw in a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
That's just kind of crazy, though, isn't it? Don't you get a player for $1? I mean, if you're Cameron Maybin, you're probably like, crap. I mean, really, that's what I want.
Well, the Yankees right now are third place in the American League East. Tampa right now is sitting at second. They have one game over the Yankees. They're 27-19. The Yankees are 26-19. And then the Boston Red Sox that have played very good baseball.
Alex Verdugo, man.
A lot of people were very surprised of what the Boston Red Sox have done so far this season, 28-18. But this division is so exciting to watch, and I think this is going to be. I've said this over and over again. The American League East, when this division is pumping, is the hardest division in baseball. It's
Listen,
not even an argument.
by me. I didn't give a damn.
It is a hard division. This is going to be a hard division for the Yankees to win this year. I think 3 teams can make it to the playoffs this year. That's how good this division is.
And Toronto didn't even get Springer back or any of that stuff yet. That's the crazy thing. It's to me, the Yankees are still in great shape.
The Yankees are getting Severino back this year. Severino will be back after the All-Star break. The Yankees they're fighting injury right now, too. When they get healthy, with Torres coming back and he figures out, and Gary Sanchez is out for a significant amount of time now. When the Yankees start to figure things out, this lineup is going to be working on all cylinders.
Really going to figure things out?
Yes, he is. First of all, Gary Sanchez last year had, I think, over 20 home runs. Not last year, the year before that. But Gary Sanchez is still a power hitter. He's still going to give you power numbers. You need him in your lineup. Even if you put him as your DH and you put Giancarlo in the outfield, you need his power in the lineup. As long as he is a part of this team. Now, I could see the Yankees trading him at the trade deadline. If there's a particular player that becomes available, a catcher that becomes available, like a Real Muto, I'm not saying, but who knows? Philadelphia falls out of it. They might say, you know what? We want to move Real Muto. We don't want to keep that contract. Maybe if anybody can fix Gary Sanchez, Joe Girardi could. We saw how well Gary Sanchez played with Joe Girardi. He hasn't played that well since Joe Girardi left. So maybe switching players. I don't know. Whatever the Yankees decide to do, I trust Brian Cashman. And by the way, Yankee fans, I am tired of reading posts that the Yankees need to fire Brian Cashman. Because if Brian Cashman gets fired, within 5 minutes, he will have another job. The Mets would fire Sandy Alderson just to bring in Brian Cashman. Guarantee it. They wouldn't even think twice. Brian Cashman is the best GM in baseball. He's one of the best GMs in professional sports. Yankee fans saying, you know what, he's done nothing. He's done nothing for the last couple of years. He's brought in nothing. He's drafted nothing. It's ridiculous.
We'll gladly take him with the Mets.
Anybody would gladly take him. I think the New York Knicks would sign him as the GM of the Knicks, and he doesn't even know anything about basketball.
What's it, the Browns now hiring baseball
ridiculous.
executives? Now the Knicks are going to hire baseball executives?
It is absolutely
I mean, it worked
ridiculous.
for the Browns. Maybe it'll work for the Knicks, too. Who knows?
How could anybody want to get rid of one of the best GMs in baseball? It's terrible what the Yankee fans say. And this is why, even as a Yankee fan, and I am a Yankee fan, I can't stand Yankee fans. I can't stand listening to them. I can't stand them bitching. This team is 26-19. I don't hear anybody right now say that they can't win. They were 6-11 a couple of weeks ago, and Yankee, they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just trade away pieces. Let's trade Aaron Judge. Let's trade Giancarlo Stanton. Are you on drugs? This is a team that's too good. They're going to win 100 games this year. They're going to win about 104, 105 games this year. In that division, I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees win out that division by at least 5 or 6 games. When they get healthy, when Severino comes back, the way Domingo Germán is pitching, Kluber's figuring things out, and Garrett Cole, that's a great rotation. It's great. Corey Kluber, by the way, anybody that thought Corey Kluber wasn't going to, I told you guys, when it gets warm out, I did say that, Speedy, Corey Kluber will figure things out. And it's getting warmer out. And what is Corey Kluber doing? He's figuring things out. He's 4-2 with a 2.86 ERA when he started the season off with a 5.36 ERA. He went down 3 in 2 games. So what does that tell you about Corey Kluber? This guy is a Cy Young type of pitcher. When healthy, he can pitch as good as anybody in baseball. And he pitched his first no-hitter with the Yankees.
6th one of the season already. 7th if you want to count the 7-inning one from Bumgarner. But
sensational game,
for
by the
another
way.
time.
Sensational game. And Corey Kluber deserves all the credit. And Brian Cashman, again, nails it again. He brings in a veteran pitcher that hasn't pitched really for 2 years, a Cy Young winner, and he rediscovers himself. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to win 15, 16 games this year. At one point this year, we'll be talking about him possibly being a Cy Young candidate. I'm telling you, he's that good of a pitcher. When he has it and when he's on, there's not many guys that can pitch as good as him. And he's not a power pitcher. You know this, Josh. He's not a power pitcher, and that's what makes him so special. He's a finesse pitcher, loves to throw those curve balls, those off-speed pitches that throw you off and make the batters try to figure things. And his release point, you can't see the ball come out of his hands, which is very unique. A lot of pitchers, like a Garrett Cole, that's why he's so dominant. And Jacob deGrom is another guy that you just can't see the ball coming out of his hands, and that's why he's so dominant.
Absolutely, and that's the best. That's, to me, those are the pitchers that always last the longest in this league. You could even go to Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer is another one. He's not like a fully force power pitcher. He's a finesse pitcher. He throws you 94, 95, but his off-speed pitches are what stands out the most. Even a guy like, go look at Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw isn't the most powerful pitcher.
Oh, my God. You can't see his pitch.
You can't see anything
at all.
Those are the guys, to me, that always, always, always last the longest in the league. Not the guys that throw 100 miles an hour. None of those guys. That's why when I look at guys like that, I always say, these are guys I want on my team rather than the 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. Because here's the thing. Some guys just know how to be fastball pitchers. Some guys know how to be just regular pitchers, and they know how to move their pitches. And that's why some guys last in this league longer.
Well, Corey Kluber is a sensational pitcher. Brian Cashman deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit for bringing him in when everybody in the press said, why are you bringing this guy in? He hasn't pitched in 2 years. He hasn't been healthy for 2 years. And you're bringing him in, and the Yankees took a chance, 1-year contract worth about $15 million, and the Yankees could win on this contract, absolutely win on this contract. If Corey Kluber is a good number 2 or a great number 2 behind Garrett Cole, the Yankees haven't had a 1-2 punch in a very long time. This could be a dominant pitching staff this year, especially the way Domingo Germán is pitching, and Severino is right around the corner to come back. Could you imagine what this rotation could be when Severino comes back? It's unbelievable. So we'll see. It's going to be very fun to watch as the season progresses. When we come back, the New York Islanders are playing playoff hockey. I'm going to tell you why Barry Trotz needs to get his head out of his ass and play the young rookie goaltender in Sorokin. When we come back, we'll argue why Sorokin should be the number 1 guy moving forward for the New York Islanders here on the Weekend Crunch. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Weekend Crunch. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Joshua Silverberg, and on the board, as always, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time only on 103.9. The LI News Radio Network, brought to you by New York Sports Team Magazine and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Download the iOS WWSRN app by going to iOS WWSRN or Android Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Great shows, great articles, great everything. If you like sports and you want to listen to the voice of sports on Digital Profile Network, listen to us. We have 18 shows on our network, And by the way, Josh actually hosts a show called Off the Mat. It is a terrible show. I'm just kidding. It's a great show.
Oh, would you stop it?
It's a great show. Nevertheless, Josh is the host of the show, and you get to hear Crazy Lyle, who, by the way, didn't invite me to the hockey game today. I was very upset about it.
Oh, he did. Miracles do happen.
Listen, kiss my ass, all right? I don't need to listen to you, Mr. 90.3 over there. Your T-shirt. You are just like my friend Matt from the Firehouse. He gets these shirts free, and he wears all of them. He doesn't wear any of his
Well, this is my pajama shirt.
Yeah,
So,
well, is that what it is? You're wearing your pajamas to the studio. Very nice. Very
I
nice.
figured
Thank you.
after this, we said, hey, let's get going. Wear my Crocs, and I said, that's it. That's how
Crocs
it's
and a 90.3 shirt, and your
That's
dog.
right.
And your
That's how you
dog.
get prepared to work.
And your dog over there sitting behind you. Anyways, I want to get into some hockey. Long Island fans are talking about the New York Islanders and what the Islanders have not done throughout the playoffs so far. And this defense has not played well. This is one of the best defenses in the league, top 3 defense in the last 3 years. They've been tremendous. Pelech and Pulak and the defensive profiled depth that the Islanders have. I was very surprised that they have not shown up in this series. And Pittsburgh has played very good hockey offensively and even played very well defensively. Jari, their goaltender, who I think is just
He stinks.
terrible. Jari has outplayed Varlamov, who was, to me, the goaltender of the playoffs last year. The reason why the Islanders went to the Eastern Conference Championship was because of Varlamov. But Varlamov is not the same goaltender. He's coming back from injury. You had Sorokin in game number 1. He went to overtime. He won. He had 30-some-odd saves in that game, and you won the game. Why would you pull him when you win game number 1? You haven't won a game since game number 1. Now you're going into a home game. If you lose this game, the series is over. You have to play the young kid. I understand he's a kid, but this guy has played big games before. He's 25 years old. He's played in the KHL. He's won a couple of championships. He's been one of the best goaltenders in the KHL, which is one of the hardest division in hockey and sports. This kid is not getting his chance to shine, being that you wanted him to come to the NHL. It took you 4 years to get him up here into the NHL, and you're going to sit him on the bench because of Varlamov? It's obnoxious. If Barry Trotz doesn't figure things out with this goaltending position, the Islanders are going to get knocked off very, very quickly in this series. And they're the better team. A lot of people picked the Islanders to win this series because they have the defense. They have the ability to stay in the game against a very high-profile, high-powered offense with Malkin and Sidney Crosby. But let's be honest. If they don't play defense and they don't help the goaltending out with the rebounds, they're not winning this series. Sidney Crosby is not just going to give away another series. Sidney Crosby hasn't got out of the first round in almost 3 years. 3 years.
3 years? How unfortunate. Only
3 years.
Oh,
The
that's a
great
shame.
Sidney Crosby, he's still the best player in the NHL. I know it doesn't show on the point sheets, but come on, man. The guy is, in his mid-30s. He's still averaging almost 80 points a season. This guy is going to give you 30 goals every single year. He's going to give you about 40, 50 assists every single year. Who's better than Sid the Kid? I don't even call him a kid anymore. It's Sid the Man, okay? He's
I'm
not
just
the
going
kid.
to say.
Well, that's his nickname, Sid the Kid. The Islanders need to pick up the pace. Goaltending is the priority here. And Sorokin, guys, has to be the guy.
When you look at how the New York Islanders are set up, it was very shocking because I go back to last year. Varlamov got hurt last year in the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
And Thomas Greiss came in Game 7 and beat the Flyers. So what did Barry Trotz do? Well, Varlamov was healthy, ready to go in Game 1 against Tampa, but Trotz said, okay, I'm going to go with the hot hand. I'm going to go with the kid that got us the win in Game 7. I'm going to give him the credit he deserves, which is giving him an opportunity because he wanted us a big game. I'm going to go with Thomas Greiss in Game 1. Was it the right decision? No, of course not. The Islanders got blown out in that game. Barry Trotz made a hypocritical decision because he did that last year. So why don't you just do it this year? And instead, he did not do that, giving Sorokin the start in Game 2. He went with Varlamov. Now, Varlamov was good in Game 2. He gave up two very weak goals.
He was horrible in the first.
The first period was terrible.
That's what lost the game for the Islanders. I don't care if he made 70 saves in the game. Those 2 goals cost you the game, and they were bad goals. If the Islanders didn't give up 3 bad goals in the third period, they win that game in game number 3. There's no reason why Sorokin wasn't brought in the third period. How could you give your season away to play Varlamov? I don't care if he's a Vezina Trophy candidate as goalie of the year. I don't give a crap. The guy is coming back from injury. Who has been the hottest rookie goaltender in this year? It's been Sorokin. Who's going to be up for Rookie of the Year this year? Sorokin. Why aren't you playing your rookie star? This is the guy that you're going to lean on next year. Varlamov is gone next year. Give him the confidence that he can win those big games because this is the guy that's going to be the organization. This is your superstar. He is going to be a bigger star than Matt Barzal. He's going to be the superstar moving forward for the New York Islanders.
Sorokin was definitely the guy to play. I think Sorokin definitely sparked the leadership in that third period, made a lot of big saves, and I agree with Errol completely on Game 3. Sorokin should have been in that third period, especially now with a lot of these goalie platoons. The backup goalies can sometimes give the guys the sparks, and Sorokin's better than a backup goalie, I'm saying, in that particular game. That's the spark that they needed, and the Islanders still did well in the third period as it was, but it definitely could have been something where they could have won for sure if Sorokin was in, because Varlamov was giving up bad goals, the first goal and the third goal in that game. And a lot of the goals he's given up have been more on the softer side. Right.
Horrible.
So I think Sorokin, even though he allowed 3 goals in Game 1, he wasn't like this stellar type thing. He made a lot of big saves in that third period, and that's a big reason why the Islanders were able to get some momentum. So I definitely agree where I think Sorokin has to be the guy. As long as he's going to be playing steady, he's going to be the guy going forward, because Varlamov's had his share of duds so far.
Oh, my God. You have to play Sorokin. If Sorokin does not play, it will be a complete mockery. You live and die with your rookie goaltender. This is your future.
You know he'll go back to Varlamov, though.
That's fine, but this is your future. Varlamov will not be an Islander next year. They have a lot of young goaltenders that they're going to bring up from Bridgeport to back up Sorokin. You gave him the contract coming from the KHL. This is the guy that you believe. Lou Lamoriello, he has built all his championship competitive teams around what? Great goaltending. Who did he have? Martin Brodeur, the greatest goaltender, I believe, of all time. He was the one who drafted him. And then he had Corey Schneider. And Corey Schneider was one of the best American goaltenders in the NHL. Now you have arguably the best rookie goaltender, one of the best Russian goaltenders we've seen in such a long time. And by the way, all the great goaltenders in the NHL right now are Russian. So to say that this kid could be the best out of all the Russian goaltenders that we've seen come up from the KHL, that's crazy. And you've got him on your team, and you're sitting him on your bench for another Russian goaltender that hasn't won anything. I like Varlamov. He's been a great leader for this Islander team. He did very well last year. This isn't last year. This wasn't COVID-19. This is a new year, and you have a young goaltender sitting on the bench. That's sensational. He's been sensational all year. His goals against average was 2.17 as a rookie. And by the way, his save percentage, which everybody looks at, .918. Is that not good? Played 22 games. He was 13-6-3 as a backup goaltender. Rookie. And you're not going to play this kid.
It's also other things that have to step up for the Islanders.
They got to hit more.
You're waiting for Matt Barzal to do more. The thing that's really surprising me so far, and he's been extremely quiet this series, is J.G. Pageau. Because J.G. Pageau, to me, is a guy that's usually a very clutch playoff performer. He hasn't made an impact at all in the series. That has surprised me a bit. And whether he's still hurt, maybe, I don't know.
He's had a lot of penalties. I think he's had like 4 or 5 penalties. He's been getting himself into trouble. And yeah. I think he's on Barry Trotz's you-know-what list. That line hasn't played well. Besides the first game, that line hasn't done anything. And Matthew Barzal's line hasn't done anything. The line that's been doing stuff is the third and fourth line. And the fourth line, which I think is by far the best fourth line in hockey, Casey Cizikas, I don't know what the hell is going on. By the way, Clutterbuck had 2 goals the other day.
Well, Cizikas is going to leave as a free agent probably.
Well, he's not a free agent. They're going to trade him. They'll probably bring back Zajac because they traded him in the Devils trade. He's a leader. You can put him on the fourth line with Matt Martin. I think they'll re-sign Matt Martin again this year. I know a lot of people say, well, he's going to go to the Rangers. He's not going to the Rangers. He doesn't want to play for the Rangers. He's an Islander. He's a long-lasting Islander. I know the Rangers need size. Why not go after Casey Cizikas?
They're going to.
I think Casey Cizikas would fit like a glove for the Rangers on the fourth line or even a third line as a third-line center. So, and he's rough, he's mean, and he's that gritty player that the Rangers need. They need grittiness. The Islanders have a ton of grittiness. You saw what they did in the third.
Goal scorers. That's what they need.
Well, the Islanders need a goal scorer. That's what they need, a goal scorer. The question is,
the fact that people. I mean, you thought Paul Mary was going to be that guy.
Well,
I mean,
he just needs to figure things out.
It's just I don't know what they're going to do with him. I'm curious because he's going to ask for probably around $6 million, 6.5. And it's a matter of will the Islanders want to give it to him and how long would the contract want to be? Because I think Taylor Hall is going to stay in Boston. He said that other than Buffalo, that was the place he wanted to go. So he'll stay in Boston, and he's done an amazing job with the Bruins.
They're going to sign Palmieri. They're going to sign Palmieri.
The Bruins are about to beat the Capitals in 5 games, which is insane. They're dominating Washington.
Well,
I mean, that's how good the Bruins are. Once they got Taylor Hall, it changed the entire concept.
they're playing
of
a Washington team that chokes. They're a choke artist
No,
organization.
they are, but you got to give them credit where credit is due, and you look at it this way.
I'm telling you right now, and you hear me out on this one. If the Islanders win this series, they're going to knock off Boston.
Actually, I have Boston in the East coming out for the Stanley Cup. That's why
Me and Speedy have the Islanders. So
I have Boston playing the Islanders, and I have Boston winning because I just think Taylor Hall makes that much of a difference.
in the beginning season, I had Carolina going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and I had Las Vegas going to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I still think that could happen. We haven't seen the best hockey of the Islanders.
Homer!
Stop being a homer.
I'm returning the favor.
Have we seen the best of the Islanders so far?
The goaltending has been so complex for them that's really just taken away everything. And I don't want to hear Crosby getting out of the penalty box at this time. But the game was tight. It was 4-4 going into it with 2.5 minutes left, 3 minutes left. The Islanders had a chance to win.
The referees were horrible in that game. You should have the advantage as the home team, not the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That's where a guy like Jeff said, you got to rise above that.
Listen to Jeff. What? Boston Bruin fan. Give me a break.
The referees may have been bad. The game was tied 4-4. And they gave up the goal with 2.5 minutes left. So in the end, we blame the referees.
They were never going to win.
The Islanders still had it's not like the Islanders they didn't lose 7-2. I mean, it was 4-4 with 2 minutes.
Did you hear what Barry Trotz said at the end of the game when they brought up Varlamov?
What about how he's going to start a Russian goalie in Game 4?
No.
Did that joke again?
Do you think that Varlamov is still injured? And he said, no, he's 100% healthy. And then they asked him, he's like, did you have any thoughts of bringing in Sorokin in the third period? And he said, not any thoughts whatsoever. How do you have no thoughts whatsoever to bring in Sorokin when your goaltender gave up 3 really bad goals? I mean, it makes no sense. I think Barry Trotz is the best coach in the NHL. There's no question that he is.
Well, LeBron will not be suspended for violating protocols.
We figured that. You're not going to suspend.
Only certain players can break the calls. Break the rules.
You're not going to sit out the greatest.
But if it was Julius Randle, they'd tell him to sit out a game.
Probably because he's a Knick. Because he's a Knick. They don't want the Knicks to win anything.
Yeah, exactly. But don't tell Nate McMillan that. He thinks they do.
No. Take Nate McMillan to kiss my ass. How's that sound? Anyways, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Speedy, what do we got?
We got Debate Wars.
Debate Wars here on the Weekend Crunch. Jiggle, jiggle, wiggle, 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 wiggle. I'm an Island fan, not no pickle. I don't like to pickle with a wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, yeah, you don't like it, Josh? I like it. As you guys know, this is the Weekend Crunch. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Joshua Little J Silverberg. And when we say Little J, he's really tinsy-wincy. And on the board, as always, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time, only on 103.9, the LI News Radio Network, brought to you by New York Sports Team Magazine and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Download our app on iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And by the way, when I mean tinsy, he is tinsy. He's Adam Sandler lookalike over there. Maybe put a hat on and put a beard around him. You wouldn't even know. Did you see people were posting?
He could play basketball.
He's playing basketball.
Playing pickup
at Christopher Morley Park, which is right by where my parents live. He was over there playing basketball.
Pickup basketball. And he's been doing it a lot, they say.
He has. He's done it for many years now. He's been doing it, and he gets videos posted all the time. He's good, too.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I'd like to play him one-on-one.
Here we go. Are you going to be like LeVar Ball?
I'm pretty good.
You know what you're going to do?
I'm a pretty good basketball player, especially one-on-one. It's very hard to play me because even the bigger guys, the really taller guys, I'm very strong, so you're not going to back me down and put me in the box.
Nobody also wants to touch you, so there's that.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. My defensive skills playing basketball. And
nobody wants to touch you or be near you, so it's okay.
Any day you want to play me basketball.
I'm still disappointed we never did our proposed with the Beeve like 3 years ago. I was going to ref and broadcast that it would be Errol versus the Beeve one-on-one.
Now, the Beeve is good at playing team basketball, but when we went to the school to play team basketball with the Beeve, they were all ball hogs. Every single one of them were ball hogs. I haven't played basketball in a long time, so I like to pass the ball, very fancy passing and all this stuff.
You can do one-on-one at my house. I got a hoop right in my driveway.
I'm a very, very good one-on-one player.
We'll do you and the Beeve one-on-one at my house. I got a big driveway. You know that. I'll move everything out of the way, and then you guys get to play one-on-one.
The Beeve doesn't want any of this. If the Beeve wanted this, he would have played me a long time ago.
I can invite my sister-in-law over if you want.
That's right. That's right. And she wouldn't be looking at him, that's for sure. No offense, Beeve. Unfortunately. But yesterday, I went to a wedding, and I was trying to find the Beaver girl. I was very much looking for single girls.
Showing them pictures, or were you just going to say, all right, it's a blind date?
Yeah, well, there were a lot of girls hitting on me. I was dancing the whole night, guys. People were just amazed. They were like, oh, my God, I saw all the videos that were posted up all over social media. You're crazy, man. I had so much fun. A good friend. Haven't seen Nick in a long time. He came out for my birthday, and he invited me to his wedding, and it was really, really fun. I had a really good time. It was definitely something, seeing people that I haven't seen in a long, long time.
Did you go with Brittany, or did you just go by yourself?
Oh, no, she came. Yeah, she knows them, too. She was friend. Before me and Brittany, were friends and stuff like that, she knew them just as much as I did. It was fun. A lot of people had a great, great time. Just good people, just enjoying life. I was very happy, and it was a great party. So shout out to Nick, Yip, and Jackie. Congratulations on their marriage. Let's get into it. What do we got, Speedy?
We got Debate Wars.
Here we go.
This is the Debate Hour. And now in this corner,
get it!
Your host, Errol Marks.
The crowd goes wild.
And in this corner, who gives a
That's right.
Still the greatest drop in Worldwide Sports Radio Network history.
Well, thank you.
Josh, you're not the only victim of the other end.
No,
I was at once. There were several others that used to call in. We had everyone at one point against Errol.
Oh man!
All right,
One thing I'm good at is debating.
It's funny. He always says, I have no ego, but yet he's got to have fake crowd noise when they announce his name.
Oh, what are you going to say? What are you going to cry about? What are you going to cry about? You're going to cry something? Are you shedding a tear
I'm
now?
just like, really?
Let's cry about it.
No, you do the Jeff. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo, yeah.
You have some kind of infatuation with Jeff. You've mentioned his name like 6 times already on the show.
I don't have anything to do with Jeff because I don't want anything to do with
Maybe you should hook your sister-in-law up with him.
I'll pass on that one.
Poor Christina, man. Everybody's mentioning her. Her ears are probably ringing right now.
Oh, absolutely they are. Dude, she wouldn't go anywhere near. She wouldn't. No. Yeah,
what do you think? The Beeve or Jeff? What would you say if there was a shot?
Choice C. Neither.
Okay, I give you. You have to pick one. The Beeve, Jeff, or Speedy.
Oh, easily Speedy. Are you kidding me? Speedy's a gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Look at that. Speedy's blushing.
He was unrealistic.
No,
he was unrealistic.
I'm laughing.
I wonder what your sister-in-law. I wonder if she would make him a man.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Jeff. Let me tell you something. Jeff acts like a tough guy. She would kick the crap out of Jeff.
I think she would because when I first met her, the back and forth banter. By the way, me and your sister-in-law had the same birthday. We were born April 29th.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's funny because when we sat together, she's a Ranger fan. I'm an Islander fan. I was just having a good time and talking to her, and all of a sudden she heard I was an Islander fan, and there it was.
Yeah,
everything hit the fan. And then we went back and forth and argued and yelled at each other. But actually, I dig your sister-in-law. I do. I dig her.
Yeah, she loves to party, that's for sure.
I do. I think she's cool. Anyways, are you ready, Speedy?
I'm ready. Here we go. So, all this Kwame Brown controversy this week leads to this one. The biggest draft bust in any sport. Who is it and why?
I'm going to go with Jamarcus Russell. I mean, to me, it's easy. Number 1 overall pick. Everybody thought he was the next big thing. Comes into Raiders camp overweight, out of shape, didn't give a damn. And it was embarrassing how he portrayed himself. It was really such a joke. It set the Raiders back for years upon years upon years. He never became anything. So I'm going to go with Jamarcus Russell. There are probably older ones I don't remember, but in my time, Jamarcus Russell is the one that stands out for me.
I'm going to go with Kwame Brown. No, I'm just kidding, Kwame.
Oh, yeah. And you want him on the show.
I'm just kidding. Anthony Bennett. I think Anthony Bennett is the worst I've seen. The Cavaliers needed to draft somebody. They got the number 1 pick after LeBron decided to flee and go to Miami. They needed another superstar. I don't know what they were thinking going with Anthony Bennett. And everybody was surprised that they went with Anthony Bennett at number 1. He was a good player in college, not a sensational player. Nothing that really stood out to me to be a number 1 pick, but he was in and out of the NBA. He was the worst by far.
In his defense, that was the last time I think UNLV made the NCAA tournament, though. They haven't made it since. All right, staying with the NBA, better recent Hall of Fame inductee, oddly enough with the same first name, Chris Webber or Chris Bosh?
Chris Bosh was a good player in my eyes from what I saw. The only thing was, I want to say Chris Webber because I give Chris Webber more of the advantage because of how great he was in college as well. To me, I think he was a little bit of a better all-around player than Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was a great shooter. He was, but the defensive prowess of Bosch wasn't really as much there. And let's face it, in Miami, he was the third wheel. That's exactly what he was. Chris Webber was not that, so I'm going to go with Chris Webber.
I'm going with Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh, even though their numbers are so similar. Chris Bosh, 19.2, 8.5 rebounds, 2.0 assists in his career, to Chris Webber's 20.7, 9.8, 4.2. Very similar numbers.
Doesn't I give it to Chris Webber? But also, Chris Webber was the better player in college.
I'm going with Chris Bosh. He won championships, and I'm all about winning championships. You could be a great player, but if you don't win, you're going to say LeBron James.
I mean, when you're on that team,
it doesn't matter. He was a big part of that team, and he was the anchor of the defense. He was the anchor of that defense. Not LeBron, not Dwayne Wade.
He was an okay defensive player.
He was the anchor of the defense.
He was an okay player.
He was the anchor. Speedy.
Stop it. Shane Battier coming off
Chris
the bench.
Bosh. Well, who was the anchor of that defense?
Here.
Who was the anchor of that defense?
Shane Battier.
No, he was
Shane Battier.
LeBron James said that Chris Bosh was the anchor of that defense. LeBron James.
That's nice. LeBron James also said Steph Curry should be the MVP. Nobody ever said he was smart.
You're an idiot. It's Chris Bosh. It's not even an argument. By the way, Chris Webber never won anything.
He should have won with Sacramento, but that's...
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Better shortstop, Jimmy Rollins or Hanley Ramirez?
I'm going to go Hanley Ramirez.
Of course you will.
Jimmy Rollins was a big pain in the ass, but to me, I think Hanley Ramirez was more of a power hitter. The only problem with Ramirez was he never really had a set position. Was he a third baseman? Was he a first baseman? Was he a shortstop? They didn't know. I believe they both won. Hanley Ramirez, did he win a championship with the Red Sox?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I he did.
And he never won an MVP. Jimmy Rollins did. So
that's fine. But the point is, I think Hanley Ramirez also, in the longevity of his career, had better numbers, longevity-wise. Rollins had a good few years with Philadelphia. But Ramirez with the Marlins, with the Red Sox, he was a good player. So I'll go with Hanley Ramirez. Hanley Ramirez was a pain in the ass from the Marlins, too. I hate both of them. Why does it matter?
I'm going with Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy Rollins is the better player. Jimmy Rollins won an MVP. Jimmy Rollins won a championship. He was a big part of that championship team. He was the leader of that team. And is he a Hall of Famer? No. Either is Hanley Ramirez. Both of them are not Hall of Famers. Defensively, you can argue Jimmy Rollins was a better defensive player. So I'm going to go with Jimmy because Jimmy did more in the league. He won a championship, and he was an MVP. Hanley Ramirez, he was more of a third baseman than a shortstop. So I'm going with Jimmy.
Better center, Ryan Getzlaf or Henrik Sedin?
I liked Ryan Getzlaf a lot. I thought he did a good job. What?
Of course you do.
Why? Why do you say that? I like Henrik Sedin. I like the Sedin twins.
They're awesome. They're both Hall of Famers.
I know they are. But to me, Ryan Getzlaf...
He's not a Hall of Famer.
He's not, but the thing was he was a clutch playoff performer with the Ducks. It's just a matter of they ran into some buzzsaws with the Kings and the Blackhawks. I mean, those were some very, very, very talented teams with the Ducks. The Sedin twins didn't win either. I mean, they choked in the Stanley Cup. But
they still were there.
They were there. But again, as I said, those Ducks teams were really good. They ran to a very good Blackhawks team every year. That was the problem. And I thought Getzlaf had more of an impact. He was a leader on that team.
I'm going with Henrik Sedin. He broke 1,000 points. When you break 1,000 points, you're a borderline Hall of Famer. He's a great passer. He's not the goal scorer of the Sundin twins. He's the passer. But I think both Sundin twins were sensational. Both of them are going to the Hall of Fame. The first twin brothers to be as successful as they were together on one team in their whole careers. So I'm going with Henrik Sedin.
All right, better cornerback, Sean Springs or Rashean Mathis?
I think it's Rashean Mathis. When we talk about the corner position, you can argue so many different players, and both those guys are borderline good players. They're not superstar players. Mathis is a good player. He's played very well the last couple of years. So I'm going to go with Mathis. I think he's the better all-around player.
He was a two-time first All-Big Ten, second-team All-Pro, and a Pro Bowler. He had 33 interceptions in his career, Sean Springs. Did he have the impact? For me, I think Sean Springs had a little bit of more with the numbers, so I'll give the push to Springs. They both were nice players. They weren't really good players, so I'll give it to Sean Springs.
Yeah, they were both number one corners, not really Hall of Famers.
That's exactly what it was.
Better pitcher, Josh Beckett or Roy Oswalt?
I'm going to go with Beckett because of the clutch performer that he was. Now, Roy Oswalt was a very good regular season pitcher, especially with the Astros. Forget the Phillies years. With the Astros, he was legit. The only thing is, when you go back and look at that National League West at the time, it was such a weak hitting division. Josh Beckett was one of the reasons the Marlins won the World Series. He was one of the reasons the Red Sox won the World Series. He was a very clutch performer. He was a guy that, when the Red Sox made that trade, they felt that was going to get them over the top again to win another championship. It was. So I'm going to go with Josh Beckett.
Oh, it's definitely Josh Beckett. He was a clutch pitcher. I couldn't stand him as a Yankee fan. He beat the Yankees with the Marlins. He beat the Yankees with the Red Sox. The Yankees always had a problem with Josh Beckett. We talk about Pedro Martinez, how the Yankees dominated against Pedro Martinez. Well, if you look at their record against Josh Beckett, not so much. So Josh Beckett, he's a clutch pitcher. So I'm going with Josh Beckett.
All right, one more. Better running back, Tiki Barber or Clinton Portis?
Oh, that's easy.
Clinton Portis was a nice player, but Tiki Barber, I think, was the more consistent running back. Was he a problem to deal with? Yes.
So was Portis.
But let's be real here. When Tiki left the Giants, they won a Super Bowl, as coincidental as that is. So I'm going to go with Tiki Barber. They both were excellent running backs, but Tiki Barber, I think the longevity of it, when you look at the numbers, I think Barber was the more standout guy.
Tiki Barber only played one more year than Clinton Portis.
Yeah, they were
well, that's what I'm saying, longevity-wise, but he put up more consistent numbers, I think, than Portis did. Portis had very good numbers.
9,923 yards, that's a lot, man. 75 touchdowns in 7 seasons. I'm going with Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis had 75 touchdowns in 7 seasons. That means he's averaging close to 10 touchdowns a season. That's a lot, man. I don't think Tiki Barber had numbers like that.
He had 55 touchdowns,
Yeah.
where the significant gap with Tiki Barber and Clinton Portis is their receiving yards. He had a lot more receiving yards.
Yeah, well, he was
touchdowns.
Clinton Portis was a running back. I'm going with Clinton Portis. I think he's the better all-around running back. Even one less year than Tiki Barber, he had 20 more touchdowns. I mean, that's a lot. That's a significant amount. Yards practically identical. I mean, Tiki has 10,449 to Clinton Portis is 9,923. It's not that much. Clinton Portis was the better all-around running back. Both guys never won. And Clinton Portis did it on 2 different teams. Tiki did it on one. So I'm going with Clinton Portis.
The infamous Champ Bailey for Clinton Portis trade.
I love his personality, too. Did you see the costumes that this guy used to wear? I mean, he used to wear these pimp hats. He'd come in with pimp stuff. He was funny. Clinton Portis had a personality on him, man. Josh, you were young when Clinton Portis was in the league. And so was Speedy.
Yeah, I only remember him with Washington. I never saw him play with Denver, obviously before he got traded for Champ Bailey.
You guys were young.
Yeah, but Portis in the 4 or 5 years that I watched him was something special, too, just like Tiki Barber. That's why this debate definitely was very close between the two.
He should be a borderline Hall of Famer.
He would have been if it wasn't for all the injuries he had at the end of his career, too. I always say that with him and Steven Jackson, I think really both would be Hall of Famers.
If Davis got into the Hall of Famer.
Yeah. No, he's a better running back than Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
So I guess from those credentials, yeah.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. He has got almost 10,000 yards. If you're a running back and you have almost 10,000 yards, you're a Hall of Famer. I think Clinton Portis is special, so I'm going to go with Clint. Mr. Clinty. Clinton Wood. I loved his hats. He had these feathers in the hats. Dude, he had some hat collection, and he used to wear spandex. He was funny, man. Clinton Portis, if you go and check out YouTube, I think it was 30 for 30, somebody did a story about Clinton Portis. It's very
Is his show better than Julian Edelman's?
He doesn't have a show.
Is there anything better than Julian Edelman than that cheeseburger episode?
Dude, Clinton Portis, if you go and check out what he used to do in the locker room.
It's not me you have to prove it to, by the way.
First of all, Jeff knows Clinton Portis had some personality on him. One of the funniest guys off the field. Everybody says it. I would love to interview Clinton Portis. That's a guy that I absolutely envied as a child, as a kid. I actually loved him as a running back. He was very special, and he dominated. When he played, he dominated. It didn't matter where he went. And for 7 years, he was a top 5 running back in the league. Not a question. You can't even argue that. When we come back, Speedy, what do we got?
Crunch time!
Here on the Weekend Crunch. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Weekend Crunch. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Little J himself, 90.3. Joshua, a.k.a. I'm going to lose myself, Silverberg. And Speedy Petey, the one and only purple hat, green pellet, green mile, purple merple, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time, only on 103.9, the LI News Radio Network. Brought to you by New York Sports E-Magazine of the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Download the Worldwide Sports Radio app by going to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I don't know if Josh is talking to himself.
No, I'm talking to my wife. She was laughing as you were
Hello,
speaking.
Mommy. Hello there. She wants to come home with me. I don't know if she loves you anymore.
No, she doesn't.
I don't know if she loves you anymore. It's unfortunate.
Jesus Christ, what the hell's the matter with you, you
I don't
freak?
know. I'm just telling you the truth.
Why would you ever say that somebody's wife doesn't love them
I don't-
anymore? Who the hell are you to give marriage divine?
I'm trying to be divine. What was
That
she?
ain't it.
What was she laughing about?
Because she heard you ask, is Josh talking to himself? And she's like laughing.
I wonder sometimes if he is.
No.
Yeah, he probably talks to his flies in his basement. He keeps flies down there with Ranger. He has like little jackets for the flies that are flying around. Look at
I don't
you.
think so.
Did
right?
you get a jacket for your dog at least?
Just a sweater for her. Because she's a southern dog. So for her, she never really experienced cold till this year.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to buy her an Islander sweater so she can wear it.
Absolutely not happening. That dog will never freaking put that crap on.
Don't do it, Josh. Never do it.
That's
whatsoever.
That's going to be a present from me to you.
I'm watching outside as my wife walks by. My dog literally almost just tackled my wife outside.
Oh, there's the baby.
Oh, my God.
All right, Speedy, what do we got?
Crunch time.
It's time for Crunch Time.
Read the time. Got to see the pitch.
We're going to start this week of Crunch Time with the New York Knicks. Buy or sell, they will win both playoff games at Madison Square Garden.
I'll buy it. I think you're going to see some issues in the beginning. I think you're going to see some frustrated problems in the beginning because these are all kids that are new. But I think they hold the home court advantage, so I'm going to buy it.
First of all, Atlanta is the same young team with a bunch of kids. I buy it. The Knicks are one of the best home teams in the NBA this year. They didn't lose that many games at home. So they're a very good home team
And the week off helps them, too.
and an okay away team. I say the Knicks win both their games at home. So, yes, I believe it. I agree with it.
All right, buy or sell, Ilya Sorokin will start the rest of the series for the Islanders, no
They
matter how
better.
long it goes.
He better.
He better. I will tell you this. I'll buy it for now, but if he does struggle in Game 4, I am curious what Trotz does at this point. I think
We
he
don't
might
even
go
know
to
if he's
Corey-
playing.
I think he might go to Corey Schneider at this point and say, I'm going to win it this time around
Wonderful.
because
Thank
either
you.
one of them could start. So, no, Matt, you have to do it at this point, right? That shouldn't have even been a discussion in the first place. It should have been he won Game 1, let him continue until he struggles. Once he struggles, then you can put Varlamov in. You have a reason and an excuse to do it. There was no rhyme or reason to put him in the game. So I'll buy it. Sorokin will start. I don't want to say the rest of the series. He'll start Game 4. I want to see how he performs.
I'm not even going to buy or sell. He better. He better. That's all I'm going to say. He better.
But again, what if he gives up like 5 goals in
He
Game 4?
better.
So you're saying if he gives up 5 goals in Game 4,
You
can
ride
start
and
Game
die
5?
with the kid that you believe is your next superstar of your team. You ride and die with him.
All right, buy or sell. We've already seen 3 teams get no-hit twice already. Either the Indians, the Mariners, or the Rangers will get no-hit again this season.
No, absolutely. It's going to be the Mariners. I'm buying it. I'm telling you right now, I think there's going to be at least 11 no-hitters this year, or even maybe 12. I really think it's going to be that high. Look at the league-wide average this year for hitters. I think it's under 230 now in Major League Baseball. It's embarrassing. Everybody's saying that the baseballs are smaller. 2 years ago, the baseballs were going out of the park. Now nobody can hit the baseballs. Just fluctuate it in a way where it's even playing for both the hitter and the pitcher. Enough with messing around with it. Stop touching the balls. Stop dockering it. So I will buy it.
I'm going to buy it. I think there will be another no-hitter. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's definitely not going to be against the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees are going to be no-hit. I've never seen that. When was the last time the Yankees got no-hit? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I think it was the Astros when it was that combined no-hitter where it was like the starter, like 8 of them bullpen guys came in and they just like no-hit the Yankees. It was-
Yeah, I don't even remember, but not many times. I'm going to buy it's going to happen. I don't know who and what team it's going to be against. But being that it's just breaking records with the no-hitters, and by the way, just because it's breaking records, that Corey Kluber no-hitter was special. That was a fabulous game that he pitched against the Texas Rangers. And Domingo Germán pitched just as well. So could you imagine back-to-back no-hitters against one team? That would be really funny.
Domingo Germán getting a no-hitter, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Don't say that to Voit to anybody on the Yankees.
Yeah, I know, right? Dude, Luke Voit was ready to knock him out, man. If he screws up one more time, Luke Voigt's going to hit him so hard he'll go through the clubhouse into the Red Sox.
Oh, my God.
All right, we've seen on Twitter, one top receiver trying to recruit another. DeAndre Hopkins trying to lure Julio Jones to Arizona. So buy or sell, Julio Jones will be traded to the Arizona Cardinals.
Not a chance in hell. I don't know what happened to Josh. We lost him.
I guess you're going right now.
Not a chance in hell. First of all, they added A.J. Green. They have too many weapons as it is. They brought in another wide receiver in the second round. It just doesn't make sense. Why would they do something like that? You know what I mean? So I just can't see that happening. But Julio Jones and what he has done in his career, if he does go to Arizona, what is Arizona going to have to give up to get him? That's going to be the question. They're going to have to give up a significant amount. So I'm going to say I am going to sell that. Not a chance in hell Julio Jones is going to Arizona, Speedy. What do you think?
I don't think it happens either. I agree. I think there'll be more pursuers that need receivers more. So
I would say Patriots. I think the Patriots.
I think the Ravens are very likely.
The Ravens.
I think
Oakland.
they don't really need a lot of other things. I just think they have the urgency to do it more.
Oakland is another team.
Maybe, but again, they need so much other things. They need all the draft picks too. So the Ravens, I think, have the most leeway among teams that are interested to make that kind of move. I could see a team like the Eagles maybe doing it too because they have been notoriously stingy. But yeah, I think the Cardinals, if they're going to make a trade, I think it would probably be for offensive line or maybe more defensive help, or even a running back too. They could use another running back to platoon with Chase Edmonds. All right, buy or sell. Tony La Russa will be fired by the Chicago White Sox within the next 2 weeks.
Never. It's never going to happen. I'm going to sell that. They're right now winning the division. They're in first place in the division. I don't care what he did and not sticking up for his player and sticking up for the other player. He's an old school type of manager. The White Sox are going to be up to possibly win a championship this year. They have a lot of depth. They have some good young players coming up that we're going to see this year. And they could make trades at the trade deadline. So I am going to sell that. They're keeping Tony La Russa.
I'm going to sell it too because they're in first place. I think it's very tough. I know they have the clubhouse issues. That's understandable. But I think it's something that's early in the season. I think they're going to shake it off. Maybe if it was a little later in the season and there's actually some issues because of the turmoil, okay. But it's early in the season. I think they'll stick with it and they'll find a way to overcome it. And they're still playing well. They haven't struggled badly amidst all that. So I am going to sell it. All right, buy or sell. We will see a lower-seeded team, a 5 through 8 seed, other than the Lakers, win a first-round playoff series. So that would be the Hawks, the Heat, the Celtics, and the Wizards in the East. And then in the West, the Mavericks, the Trailblazers, and the Grizzlies.
I'm going to go with Portland. If anybody can win the first series, especially being that they're not a huge seed, I'm going to go with Portland. I trust in Damian Lillard. I think he's one of the best players in the league. He's proven that. I think he's one of my MVP candidates. I don't understand the whole Steph Curry thing. But I'm going to go with Portland.
I'm going to sell it. I don't think anyone else does besides the Lakers. I think the Nuggets get revenge with Portland. They had a very, very good, probably the best series of the playoffs in 2019. And I think the Nuggets will get their revenge. And the 8 seeds, I don't really see making any noise. Dallas, I know, played close with the Clippers last year, but I still don't see it again. I don't see them actually winning. And like we said earlier, I think the Knicks will beat the Hawks, no problem. The Nets will beat the Celtics, no problem. So I'm going to actually disagree on that one. I will sell that. All right. Buy or sell. We will see another no-hitter next week.
I'm going to sell that. I don't think that's happening. I know we've seen 6 of them in 1 month, so a lot of people would think that, but I do not think it. I think it's going to get warmer. People are going to start to hit again. I think we're going to see more offense than we expected. I know a lot of people think it's been a low season for offense, so I am going to sell that.
I am going to sell it as well. I think the more will come. I think Josh was right earlier. You're going to see probably something in the realm of 12 or 14 or something no-hitters throughout the year, but next weekend, no. It's still the probability is not there for that kind of thing. So,
by the way, what happened to Josh?
He apparently lost power in his house, so we probably will not get him back because we don't have much time left in this segment. All right, buy or sell. David Quinn will become the next Columbus Blue Jackets head coach.
Not a chance in hell. That's all I got to say. I don't care what anybody says. Statistics or what JD has said or how much the press has said that he might bring David Quinn as his coach. That's not happening.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it too. I think they really need to get some kind of reputation in there because
he lost his job because of David Quinn.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to just recycle the same thing. I think they're going to try to get a new identity with this Blue Jackets team. I mean, they have some talented pieces, but again, their 2 best players are injury prone.
By the way, that was a great move by the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to recreate a new identity, a new fresh start because this team has been, even when they're good, they're just average at best, nothing more than that. So I'm also going to sell it. All right, we'll do one more. Somebody that is not Travis Etienne or Najee Harris will lead rookies in rushing yards.
Good question. I'm going to buy it. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe Marco Carter from the Jets. I think the other kid from North Carolina that went in the second round, Williams could do it. I think there's a lot of good running backs in this draft. As good as Harris is, and he's going to Pittsburgh, he's going to touch the ball. He's going to see the ball a lot. You're going to see a lot of teams use running back play, including the Jets, who likes to run the ball. With that offense, they're going to run the ball a lot. So I'm going to buy that there might be another running back that could win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm going to buy it. I don't think any of them are going to win Rookie of the Year, but I am going to buy it. Here's another name to watch out for just because the opportunity might be there in the 49ers backfield is Trey Sermon. I don't really like him as a prospect, but I think he went to the right spot. I mean, you look at the loss of Coleman, Raheem Mostert's been in and out with injuries. This backfield is wide open, and I think the running scheme with Kyle Shanahan, he's another name to watch out for, I think, Sermon, in that backfield to really be the lead rushing type guy, whereas other guys could be the receiving backs, too. I think Najee Harris, you mentioned, he'll get a lot of touches with the Steelers, but here's the thing. The Steelers are going to be facing tough defenses with the Ravens and the Browns in that division. The Steelers' offensive lines had a lot of issues, and I don't think they're just going to be as good of an overall team, so I think they're going to be behind in games more, too. I don't trust that. ETN is the same kind of thing where the Jaguars are going to be behind in games, a lot of platooning with James Robinson. I don't really trust that. I think Trey Sermon, I don't think he's going to rush for a lot of yards, but I think he could be sneaky. So I am going to agree with you and buy that one too. I'm actually surprised you bought it as well. So that will do it for this week of Crunch Time with half of Josh and half of me.
Yeah, well, half of Josh and half of you is enough for me. Okay, so anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Go Islanders, as we all know. And by the way, guys, tune into the show every single Saturday. Next week, we're shooting for a new guest. Josh is working on it, so when Josh gets that, I'm sure we'll do a commercial for 103.9. But shout out to 103.9, the LI News Radio Network, for letting us do our show and put our show on their network. We put our product out there for all the fans. If you're a sports fan, to listen to us, we give you the best analyzation of what's going on in sports, and we crunch it in 2 hours. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you love the comedy and the collective craziness on this show. But
we're the Weekend Crunch, crunching it into 2 hours, ending with Crunch Time.
And crunching Speedy's underwear. Anyways.
No, I would hope not.
That's it for our show. We'll be back next week. As you guys know, this is Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Joshua Silverberg saying good night, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.